On May 15th, ID Software unleashed the next bold chapter in the legendary Doom franchise. Doom, The Dark Ages. This isn't your typical Doom. It's a wild, heavy metal ride set in medieval times, with the Slayer swapping out chainsaws for shields, maces, and even facing off against dragons. A total reinvention of the classic demon-slaying formula. It promised to bring something fresh, brutal, and intense to the table. But here's the catch. Despite all the hype and innovation, how can a game with millions of players also be considered a flop? Today, we're diving deep into the numbers, the gameplay, and what this means for ID Software and the future of Doom. Doom has always been about fast-paced, high-octane demon slaughter, but with the Dark Ages, ID Software threw a curveball. The setting is medieval, the weapons range from swords to chainsaw shields, and the aesthetic leans hard into a heavy metal vibe. It's a bold move, even more daring than previous entries. When I first played it, I had my doubts. Melee combat in Doom? Medieval themes? It seemed like a big departure. But once you jump in, the gameplay is unmistakably Doom, frantic, brutal, and rewarding. The frenetic pace and fluid combat remain intact, with even more weapon variety and crazier fights. Despite the gameplay delivering on the promise, the commercial response tells a different story. Official data from ID Software reveals over 3 million players have experienced the game. That sounds impressive on paper. But here's the kicker. Only about 1 million actually bought it. Where are the rest? The majority are playing through Xbox Game Pass, the subscription service that allows players to download and play games for a monthly fee. This inflates player counts, but doesn't translate directly into sales revenue for the developers. Breaking it down, 200,000 copies sold on PlayStation, 400,000 copies sold on Steam, 200,000 copies sold on Xbox retail or digital storefronts. The remaining 2.2 million players accessed the game through Game Pass. What does this mean for profitability? This split between paid sales and Game Pass players raises critical questions about profitability. Big-budget titles like Doom, The Dark Ages have massive development and marketing costs. They need solid sales numbers to recoup that investment. Game Pass is a double-edged sword. It provides incredible exposure, especially for indie games or smaller projects. But for a AAA game with a hefty budget, relying mostly on subscription playthroughs might not generate enough revenue to be sustainable. Microsoft doesn't publicly share detailed revenue data from Game Pass, making it hard to evaluate exactly how much money flows back to studios. But clearly, 1 million copies sold worldwide is a modest figure for a franchise of Doom's stature.